friends, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and we're getting ready to do another mixed media fun video today. And I'm gonna address a few issues that some people have been having with their journals. One being wrinkly paper. So when you're trying to cover a journal page with a lot of a large sheet of paper, Mod Podge is probably not your best bet. What I want to do is show you what I like. This is Yes paste. It's called a Yes Stick Flat Glue, and when you open and close it, I really recommend putting a piece of wax paper down before you put your lid on, because I've had a thing of this glue shut before. But what you want to do is use a spatula or a scraper, something, to get a gobble glue, and you want to spread it out on your paper really thin. What I really like about this is that it takes a long time to dry, but once you have your paper on there, you can work over it. It's fine. It just takes, it stays wet for quite a while, so you can adjust your papers and do what you need to do. And as long as you're covering it right up with paper, you can continue to work on your project. I had a project once. I was covering a little waste can for my sewing machine to collect little scraps of paper, little scraps of thread and stuff. And there was an area where I had the glue, the paste exposed, and it stayed tacky for weeks. It takes a long time to dry, but it's perfect if you're trying to cover like a book cover or a journal page or something that you want to have a little open time with your glue. So if you're covering a journal, you can use this for paper, leather, fabric, anything. It's really, really good. You can even says it'll bond metal, but I don't know. I think that I don't think this would be my go-to glue for anything really thick or dimensional. Even though you could really get a gob on it and it would grab it. You can thin this with water, but I would not thin it when you're trying to cover a page in your journal, because you don't want to get the paper to buckle or wrinkle. It's the moisture that makes it wrinkle. I should have put my little. Maybe I will actually. I can grab one of my little handy dollar store cutting boards so I don't glue my pages together. I want to glue them to each other. Alright, and just make sure you bring that glue all the way out to the edge. You could also use a sheet of wax paper if you don't have one of these cutting boards, just so that you're not afraid to really pull that glue right out to the edge. Alright, so I want to divide this page into 3 sections, because I'm going to tear apart this quote that I found. Actually, Sue Cole, one of my lovely readers, sent that to me, and I really liked it, and I said I've got to use that quote in a page, because it's so me, really, because I tend to be anxious. The quote is, "If you are depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. You are at peace. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." So I just need to remind myself to be present more often. And I'm just going to line these papers up. These are some, oh no, this is another tip. So I have this really big, chest of paper, and it is it's one of those paper stick Crop and Style made them a couple of years ago, many years ago actually. They were this pop-up chest that you could put paper in, and I put all my favorite papers in there. And then, that was back when, you couldn't find scrapbook paper everywhere, or you'd travel and you'd go to a scrapbook store and you'd, spend 60 cents on a sheet of paper, and it'd be very precious, and you'd have to save it for just the right thing. So all those papers went into that chest. And then I'd get new paper, and I'd, kind of get over my fear of hoarding paper, and I started using my new stuff and forgot about all the old stuff that was too good to use that I saved. So this is some of that paper, and it's like, well, this middle panel, which is personal stamp exchange paper, it's discontinued, so of course that made it hard for me to use. And then what I would do is go on the back and just trim off the paper that's hanging over. Oops, I did get an extra paper there. I'll just do that. Actually, why don't I pause the video, and I'm just going to trim off the paper that's hanging over there. Alright, now we have this really nice, neat finish. Look how smooth everything is. Another thing you can do is take, I saved these little old gift cards, these little credit cards that kind of come in with a, credit card offer. And I use that to smooth out any air bubbles. And it's nice and flat and smooth. Look at that, no wrinkles, and it's just, thin paper. Alright, so I was talking with this quote, and I thought, I'm going to print it on vellum. And then I'm going to use some acrylic paint to adhere it down, because vellum's kind of tricky to adhere and not see the adhesive. Like if I was putting it on a scrapbook page, I might, you know, use a little vellum tape, or I might use like regular adhesive and put a button in front of the adhesive, or I might staple it. But I really don't want anything thick in my journal. It's going to push out to the other pages. I don't think the vellum is vellum tape. I don't know if it's rugged enough to handle being in the journal with no page protector, so I thought acrylic paint would act as a nice adhesive and give me a little bit of a fun look. Now I tried to emboss this really quickly with some glittery embossing powder after it came out of the printer, but I had to run all the way downstairs and it wasn't quite wet enough, but I did get a little bit of a sparkle to it, so I think that's kind of fun. So I've got some, whoa! That was like dominoes. My ATG gun hit over my bottle of Aquanet and it hit a little bottle of alcohol into my paper scrap thing. It was dominoes. Alright, so I'm going to put a little dab of this white acrylic paint in the back to be my adhesive. And it's a artist quality paint, so it's pretty thick. So hopefully it won't make my vellum buckle too badly either. And I've just got a pretty old glue brush here. And I want it to be kind of distressed looking, so I'm not going to cover it completely. I just kind of want to drag some of the white paint behind the words, and also that'll help make the words stand out because it's going on top of pattern paper. So that's another little trick. You could do that with a transparency too, to adhere it and also, you know, help it be seen. Press this right into the paper. And you're not going to have any wet paint to deal with because it's all trapped under there. So the paint's wet, just like the paste is wet underneath those papers, but you can't really see it. There. Oops, I just smeared some white paint on top of the word anxious. Oh well. There. Watch what's on my hands before I do that. There we go. That's all right. I can go over that with a black pen, so I'm not going to worry about that. So that stands out really well, and I just want to make sure I pressed in really well. My vellum has not wrinkled, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And then I also just typed out the words "be present" because I thought that would be really good to go on the companion page, which we're going to spend some time on today, because I got a request to paint a cherry blossom for Mother's Day, and I thought, I thought I could do that. In my journal with some ink, and you know, you'd follow along with watercolor just as I'm going to do with ink. But I thought, well, this is a quote by I don't even want to say it because I'm going to mess up the name. Lao Tzu, a Chinese, I think. I know, I'm not very good at that. But anyway, I thought, you know, kind of playing with the Asian influence, I'm going to do the demonstration, my flower, in ink as well, because I think that it might be kind of cool, kind of like the Chinese sumi-e paintings. I've got my ink off to the side so that I don't hopefully spill it, but you know, you never know, I might spill it. I'll try not to. I'm just grabbing a few colors. I'll probably use some, we'll use some black, some brown, some pink, some purple. Ooh, there's some dried crusty ink there. Blow that out of the way. Okay, so I am, should I draw this first? Nah, I'm not gonna draw it. I'm just gonna go right ahead in with my ink, and I'm gonna go in with some brown, working right out of the tube. I'm gonna make a branch. This is gonna be a cherry blossom branch. Do I want to have a couple branches off of that maybe? Just trying to be really light with my strokes. Then I'm going to rinse, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to grab a little black just to add in. I'm going to blot my brush in between picking up color because the ink is very liquid already, so I don't really need to add water, and since I'm just working on my regular journal here, not watercolor paper, I want to make sure that I'm not going to do anything that's going to make it buckle too badly. And in fact, I probably ought to stick that cutting board underneath this side just in case it leaks through. I don't have anything on the back side of that. Just for that purpose, I can always gesso or cover the back side with paper later on. I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so I'm going to use that same round brush, and I'm going to do the flowers with the, I think I might just get a little bit of that pink right in the cap just so I can work from that and not have to worry about spilling the entire bottle. And maybe I'll just get the tip of my brush. My brush is wet. I'm just going to get the tip of the brush with the paint, and I'm just going to kind of press it and pull it. Press and pull. Press and pull. What are there? Five petals on a cherry blossom, I think. Get another one right over there. That's kind of dull. I think I could do purple, but I think red would be a little bit more appropriate to add into this. Let me add a little bit of red. It's just a little too blah. You get a little bit of that red in the cap. I don't want to spill. There we go. Highly entertaining, isn't it? It's like I start off, I have a vague idea about what I want to do, but I kind of like to be surprised with how my journal pages come out. You're probably like, yeah, we're surprised too, Lindsay. If you're still here, I guess you're okay with it. If you're completely bored, you've already left by now, I guess. There we go. I find it very hard to plan out a journal page too much. I tend to like to just see what happens. In fact, I'd probably be listening to like the radio, or just a little yellow in the center, or a podcast or something if I was just doing this on my own and not trying to do a video with it. So press, lift, press, lift, press, lift, press, lift, press, lift. I'm going to let the ink pool and go and do its thing because I like that. You don't have to do that. You never have to do what I'm doing. Press, lift, press, lift, press, lift. I'll just get 5 petals in there. I kind of like the, well, I like runny colors, but if it's not your thing, then you don't have to do that. I'm going to do another full one, then we'll do some little blossoms, some little buds. And I'm going to add just some accents with the red, because I think that also the reds go better than purple with the companion page. And I'm going to add a little yellow in the middle. Let it do its thing. And add some yellow speckles. There we go. And let's see, for the buds, I'm going to do, I think I'll load my brush up with the pink and the red. And I'll just put a bunch of these little buds here. Kind of abstract. This might not be exactly what the person who requested the cherry blossoms had in mind, but this is kind of how I wanted to paint them. So I hope that that you do find the tutorial useful. If not, well, I'm sorry. I know it's getting awful close. This gal wanted it for a Mother's Day card, but you know, sometimes you just gotta break out and do something a little different. That's how I feel sometimes. Just gotta try something new. I just love splashing on those little buds. Alright, now I'm going to grab a little brown and I'm going to make the bottom of the buds, and I'm going to let the color go ahead and blend in if it wants to. Just grabbing a little bit of brown, just dab of brown at the bottom of each of those to begin with. I kind of let my eyes go a little crisscross and funny while I'm doing this, just so I don't get bogged down with detail. Obviously I'm not getting bogged down with detail, because I want this to be kind of very free-flowing and fun. And let's see, I think I want to have some little stamens coming out of the center of these flowers. And let's see, my little scrapey tool. Maybe I'll just use a skinny brush. And I'm going to see if I could just kind of draw out what I have in the middle of some of these flowers, just to kind of give them that little, I don't know what you call them, stamens, I guess, in there. And let's put some little, you know, I feel like I need to just, I don't feel it's fresh enough. I need to get some green. I'm going to do that with green. And then if some color washes back into the flower, I think it will look kind of cool. I'm using a little liner brush. I love the tray that if you get the India inks, like I have, that have the, that's a little too green. It has the little tray that it comes in, make sure you save that, because the little storage tray, because it's really great for holding your bottles of ink upright so you don't spill them all over the place. I've shown you that in past videos. I think it's just awesome. Go in and get some, a little bit of that in the middle, and a few flicks. Maybe some flicks with a bigger brush too. It's funny, the inks really make my water bucket a lot dirtier than the than anything else. I want to put a little bit of green on the branch. I know it's not there, but I just feel like it needs a little bit of freshening. That green looks more black when I get it in there, but that's alright. Sometimes you don't really know what something needs until you're actually painting it. Alright, what else does this need? Does need a little more work in the hip of the flower area. I'm just going to give them a little bit of red there too. Straight in the bottom. And we're at 16 minutes. It's alright, because we don't really have too much to do other than just the painting here. And back with my liner. Little brown. Just going to drag, make sure my little buds have place to go. You can add some, I don't know, you can add some, whatever you want to add, some details or whatever. This is just kind of stream of consciousness painting with Lindsay, I guess. Do-do-do. Feel like I'm on another planet right now, la-di-da, painting some pictures. Oh, I don't know if I'll upload this one or not. This one's pretty bad. Yeah, well, might as well have fun. Alright, let me pause this and dry this, and then I'll show you how I'm going to attach the Be Present to this page. Okay, I've dried this up pretty much, close enough, and then I thought I want a little something so it's not so stark. And these little tiny misting bottles I got from Oriental Trading quite a while ago, and they were I think it was about $6 for $6 for 6 of them, or $5 for 6 of them, or something like that. And they're just the right size if you want to mix up a little bit of ink. And that's what I wanted to do here. This is just some distress inks I had mixed up, but it was just the right color and just the right amount. So I just wanted to get a little something to put in the background there, because it was just too stark for me. And you can control your spray a little bit. I'll put a link to that below the video as well. I got the India inks there too, in case you're wondering. And just to help that dry, I'm going to blot a little bit of that off and add a little texture to everything. And let me blast that with a heat gun for a second, because I want to add my vellum, and I want to try using the Yes paste for that. So I'm just going to dry this area down here really quick, because I love how the Yes paste doesn't wrinkle. The acrylic paint did wrinkle slightly in the middle of my vellum quotes, but not enough to really bother me too badly. Alright, this area is dry. See how it flattens out as it dries? And I'm just going to grab another one of these cutting boards so I can put my adhesive on the back of this and not have it get all over my other page. Back in my nice Bob Ross spatula here. Love that thing. Had that for a long time. I think I got that. There used to be a store called Ames. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if it was all over the country, if it was just New England, but I remember getting that on clearance at Ames. I was so excited to get my Bob Ross palette knife. That was quite a long time ago. Alright, so I'm just scraping off any extra so I have a nice even coating on the back, because this is just inkjet ink. I've got to be careful that I don't get that wet. Oop, and I've stuck that there in my glue. That's alright. And then I will use my scraper just to smooth it out and almost give it kind of like a little shattered glass look there to it. There we go. Be present. That's my motive, my motto my something for the week. I've been so crazy and kind of stressed out, and I just need to remember that it's time to chill out. Summer's on the way. You can only do so much. Be present, Lindsay. Enjoy the kids while they're young. All that stuff. Happy Mother's Day to everyone that's a mom and everything. thumbs up and subscribe if you like this video. I'm completely losing my train of thought. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.